Pixar Animation Studios. They are often considered to be one of the greatest animation studios of all time. They were one of the first animation studios to use computer animation. Their first movie, Toy Story, released in 1995, revolutionized the animation industry, with it being the first fully computer animated film ever made. And it is also just a really good film. Like, bro, have you rewatched Toy Story lately? It's actually a banger. Now, when it comes to Pixar's best movie, there's a lot of debate over what's their best film. Some people think that Toy Story 2 is their best movie. Some people think that Finding Nemo is their best movie. Some people think that WALL-E is their best movie. And others think that Ratatouille is their best movie. Now, all of these movies are fantastic in their own ways. But there is one movie that at least most people can agree is one of, if not their best movies of all time. And that movie is The Incredibles. The Incredibles is a comedy action film written and directed by Brad Bird. You may know Brad Bird for his work on The Simpsons and his masterpiece of a film, Iron Giant, which I might cover later in the future. It was released back in 2004, the year I was born in, by the way. The film was about a superhero named Mr. Incredible, aka Bob Parr. He saved someone who apparently didn't want to be saved, and that person ends up suing Mr. Incredible. Superheroes eventually become illegal, and Mr. Incredible retires and becomes a family man, and is having kind of a midlife crisis 15 years later, and wants to go back to the glory days of fighting crime. After he gets fired from his job at some shitty insurance company, he gets an offer to fight a robot on an island from a mysterious figure. Mr. Incredible starts doing superhero work behind his wife, Mrs. Incredible's back. After one fight, he runs into an old fan of his named Syndrome, aka Buddy, who was upset at Mr. Incredible for how he treated him 15 years ago. Syndrome is set to destroy all superheroes and make everyone super, because when everyone's super,
no one will be.
God, I fucking love that line so much. Mrs. Incredible and their two children eventually find Bob on the island, and they almost fight their way off the island and stop Syndrome. Now I'm going to explain why this is my favorite Pixar movie. First, I'm going to start with the characters. Mr. Incredible is the main character of the film, and he's played by Craig T. Nelson. In the beginning of the film, he's seen as the perfect superhero. He's got an awesome car, has super strength, and's got a really cool name. After saving someone from game ending themselves, a whole legal war on superheroes begins, where superheroes get made illegal, yada yada yada. 15 years later, Mr. Incredible settles down and starts a family with his wife Elastigirl. He starts working for the biggest villain of all time, insurance companies. Fuck insurance companies. We see how tired he is of his current life. He's not upset or anything, but he misses the old days of fighting crime and wants to get back into the game. Later on in the film, he starts to appreciate what he has in life and learns that he already had a great life. He is a really great character. In the beginning, he can be seen as a bit of an asshole for fighting crime behind his wife's back, but he just misses the glory days and wants to get back into it. Then there's Elastigirl, aka Mrs. Incredible, played by Holly Hunter. Unlike Mr. Incredible, she has settled into her normal life very well and doesn't really plan on coming out of retirement and fighting crime. But she eventually gets back into crime fighting to help out Mr. Incredible. She is also a great character and is kind of the most sensible character of the whole movie. And of course, we got the legend himself and one of my favorite characters, Frozone, played by the motherfucker himself, Samuel L. Jackson. He is one of my favorite characters in the whole movie. He is always hilarious to watch, and Jackson's performance in the film is amazing. And how can we forget the "Where's My Supersuit" scene?
Supersuit?
What?
Where is my supersuit?
Put it away.
Where?
Why do you need to know?
I need it.
Don't you think about running off to doing no daring do? We've been planning this dinner for 2 months.
The public is in danger.
My evening's in danger.
You tell me what my suit is, woman. We are talking about the greater good.
Greater good? I am your wife. I'm the greatest good you are ever gonna get.
Then we got the main villain of the film, Syndrome, played by the man himself from the Chipmunks movies, Jason Lee. He's a fantastic villain. He was also one of the first Disney Twist villains. If you don't know, Disney kind of has an obsession with having twist films in their movies. Personally, I don't mind it, but a lot of people hate it. But Syndrome was one of the first Disney twist villains, and they do a great job with him. His motivations are understandable. He got pissed off at Mr. Incredible for treating him like shit, even though Mr. Incredible didn't really treat him like shit, but whatever. And then he plots out to destroy all superheroes and make everyone super, because when everyone's super,
No one will be.
God, I fucking love that line, man. It's perfect. Love you, Brad Bird. Then there are other minor characters in the film, like Edna Mode, played by the director himself, Brad Bird. Her role isn't huge in the film, but she does make the family super suits, and she's also a pretty swag character. And we got the main children themselves, Dash and Violet and Jack Jack. Jack Jack doesn't have a big role in this film, and mainly has a role in the second film. But Dash and Violet are really great characters. They're not your typical annoying kids characters. They actually help out and fight crime, and they help each other out. They do fight a bit because, you know, they're brother and sister, but they do care for each other, and it's really cool seeing a brother and sister who don't fight all the time. All the characters in this movie are amazing and leave a great impact on the story. And the story and main plot in this film is really good. It doesn't feel like it's written for kids per se, but mainly written for both adults and kids. It's very mature. When I was a kid, I didn't understand half the things that are going on in this film, but now that I'm a very mature 17-year-old, I now understand a lot of things going on. That argument between Bob and Helen really hit home. Both the actors did an amazing job and the writing is great. It doesn't feel forced or anything, it feels legit real and genuine. There's also a lot of legal and kind of older stuff that kids will understand in the film. Like the whole superheroes being a legal thing. It sort of makes sense when you watch the film, but in the opening it's kind of confusing. Also, the opening of this movie is fantastic. We get to see the supers in their glory days, and has a great 50s, 60s vibe to it. Later on in the film, it sort of forgets that the film takes place in the 60s. The whole movie has a sort of 60s futuristic vibe. Like back in the 1960s, they would predict what the future would look like, and the film kind of has that vibe, and it looks really good. All the cars and the furniture looks sort of futuristic, but also has a 60s vibe to it. Also, this movie is very mature. This film shows guns in the first opening, which is very uncommon for animated kids films, and the way the characters talk to each other, and the way the story is laid out, is very well done. It's not your typical kid superhero movie, it does have layers to it. Like that Chrono scene with the skeleton fucking terrified me as a kid. Like, bro, that is a dead super right there. Now, the animation in the film is slightly outdated, but still very good. At the time, this was very impressive animation. The character designs in the film do look a bit off, but they're still very stylized and do stand out very well. Like I said, the animation is a bit outdated, but for the time this is amazing, and this was really pushing boundaries with CGI animation back in the day. A great aspect of this animation, and one of my favorites, is the action. The fight scenes are very intense and very well done. My favorite would have to be the ending fight with the robot. It is very well animated and extremely intense. Oh, also the music in this film is genuinely fantastic. The music is composed by Michael Giacchino. He has composed a lot of Pixar films and he does an amazing job here. It's got a great 60s feel and the jazzy theme really suits a superhero film. Kinda reminds me of some James Bond music. It is very good. It suits a lot of scenes, like the fire scene, the computer scene, and just so many other scenes. Also, my favorite scene in the whole movie has to be the computer scene. The music, along with Mr. Incredible realizing that all of his old superhero friends are now dead, is amazing. Also, the black and white photos for the superheroes look really cool. One of my favorite scenes and extremely intense. It also has really good meme formats, I'm not gonna lie. In conclusion, The Incredibles is one of, if not my favorite Pixar films of all time. The story, characters, and everything about it is amazing. My favorite aspect is the characters and their interactions with each other. Like I said before, it feels so real and genuine, and Brad Bird did such a good job writing, and so did the actors as well with their performances. If I were to point out one negative, like I said, the animation is a wee bit outdated. But this was 2004, and around 2004 they were still kind of figuring out how to do computer animation. Before I go, I'd like to bring up that there was a sequel to Incredibles back in 2018, simply titled Incredibles 2. I haven't seen the film since like 2019, but from what I can remember, it's pretty okay. I might talk about it at some point in the future, but for now, we'll just give it the okay mark. Anyway, that is all from me. Hope you all enjoyed this video, and I hope you all have a swag day, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.